The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention calls stress the #1 workplace health problem, ahead of physical inactivity and obesity. It affects both blue and white collar jobs across a wide range of incomes, and it's a leading contributor to turnover, absenteeism, and productivity losses. Why and how to whistle while you work? Let's ask Mark Rutherford, a licensed psychotherapist in private practice in South Florida. You may have seen his TED Talk on YouTube. Mark, welcome back to The Big Picture.
Welcome. Thank you to have me.
A human resources professional gave me a new buzzword. It's not absenteeism, it's presenteeism, meaning you're at work physically, you're just not on your game. Why are employees dragging?
Life. They're worried about their productivity at work, but they're also worried about their home life and their relationship and their kids and getting everybody to soccer practice and what they are going to have for dinner that night. And all of these things kind of are always kind of, I call it ruminating. It's spinning around in the back wheel of their brain. And so when they are thinking about all of these things, they might be there at work, but they're not really doing the work.
Mental overload. Is this why sometimes your mind seems spinning even when you're sleeping?
Yes, it's why oftentimes professionals say turn the screens off at least a half an hour before you go to sleep. You know, don't answer emails while you're in bed. Try to find some way to disconnect, because in this world of overly connected people, we're looking at our emails and we're looking at Instagram and we're looking at Twitter and we're checking, checking, always fearful of missing something.
Yeah.
And when we're fearful of missing something, the back reel of our brain is always going, okay, what did I miss? When did I miss it? How am I going to recoup? And try to relax with that going on. It becomes a hard process.
Meanwhile, in the workplace, corporate consolidation has complicated life in many industries. In my business, radio broadcasting, the typical downsizing involves the fired worker's job landing in a surviving worker's lap. That person gets more responsibility, more work, no extra do-re-mi. From a psychological standpoint, even in this full employment economy, are overworked workers making a mistake just sucking it up rather than testing the waters elsewhere?
I think it's a slippery slope, because yes, from a mental health standpoint, you want to relieve or reduce the amount of stress kind of going on, and the correct answer is disconnect, take some time for yourself, set your boundaries. But the reality of the situation is that the workplace oftentimes, like in your business, in radio broadcasting and in many other industries, it's kind of squeezing the worker out. And so they do have a very legitimate reason to worry about these things. So it becomes a kind of internal battle between the frontal lobe, the intellect, and the amygdala, kind of our reactive brain. It becomes this kind of tug of war between what we think and what we feel.
Well, we're halfway through summer, and not using use 'em or lose 'em vacation days is a big mistake, isn't it?
I have patients that come in and say, I have 4 months of vacation pay, and I'm just afraid to take it because, this deadline is due and I'm working on 6 different projects and I know I'm supposed to take a break. I haven't had a vacation in 2 years. My kids are complaining. It's summer. They're out of school. My spouse would like to take a vacation to see their family, but I can't extract myself from being able to do that. So they know the right thing to do, but it's fear of loss, fear of loss of productivity, fear of loss of their placement in the job strata that keeps them hanging on too tight.
We're all afraid to seem clueless at work. Thank you again, Mark Rutherford, for joining us on The Big Picture.